The cafe was quiet that evening. Rain tapped gently on the window, and soft jazz music played in the background. Ryan sat near the corner table, checking his phone again and again. He wasn't nervous, at least. That's what he kept telling himself. But his fingers tapped the table non-stop, showing the truth he tried to hide. It was his first blind date. His friend Michael had set it up, saying, "Bro, just go. She's amazing. You'll thank me later." Ryan wasn't sure. He wasn't even looking for love. He had been through enough heartbreak, rejection, and silence. But something about the message he got from this girl made him curious. She wrote short, honest sentences, not fake compliments. She sounded real. He looked around. Every table was filled. Couples talking, laughing, scrolling through their phones. The smell of coffee and fresh muffins filled the air. The waiter gave him a polite smile, as if saying, "Still waiting?" Ryan smiled back weakly. Then the cafe door opened. The sound of wheels rolled across the wooden floor. Everyone turned for a second. It was a woman, calm, elegant, wearing a navy blue coat and light scarf. She moved forward in a wheelchair. Ryan froze. He hadn't expected that. She stopped at his table and looked up with kind eyes. Ryan. He blinked once, twice, before nodding. Yeah. Hi. You must be Emily." She smiled gently. "Thank you for not leaving." Those words hit him like a quiet storm. Did she say that because people usually leave? Or because she noticed his shock? Ryan didn't know what to say, so he just pulled out the chair in front of him, then realized, awkwardly, she didn't need it. Emily laughed softly. "It's okay. Happens all the time." Her tone was light, but her eyes were sharp, like she had seen this moment before. 100 times. Ryan sat down, trying to hide his unease. "So, how was the ride here?" he asked. "Smooth," she replied. "Except the driver played heartbreak songs all the way." Maybe it was a sign. Ryan chuckled nervously. "Maybe the universe just wanted to test your patience." "Or your sense of humor," she said, raising an eyebrow. They both laughed, a small, polite laugh. But under it, there was tension. People were still glancing at them, curious. Ryan could feel the eyes on him. He hated it. He didn't know why it bothered him so much. He sipped his coffee. "So, tell me about yourself," he said. Emily looked at him, then at the window where the rain kept falling. That's a hard question. "I could say I'm a businesswoman, or I could say I'm someone still learning how to live again. Which one do you want?" Ryan hesitated. "Both? Maybe?" She smiled faintly. "Then let's start with coffee. We'll get to life later," they ordered. The waiter came, slightly awkward too, but Emily handled it like a pro. Confident. Polite, not giving anyone a chance to feel pity for her. As they talked, Ryan started to notice her calmness. She didn't try to impress. She didn't fake laughter. When she spoke, her voice was steady and soft, like someone who had faced storms and survived them. Still, a question stayed in Ryan's mind. What happened to her? He wanted to ask, but didn't want to sound rude. Instead, he said, "You seem strong." Emily tilted her head. "Strong? Or just good at hiding things?" Ryan paused. "Maybe both." She smiled again. "That's fair." Minutes passed. The awkward silence started to fade. She told him small stories about her love for books, her bad cooking skills, her habit of drinking too much coffee when she's stressed. Ryan found himself laughing, really laughing for the first time in months. But even as they talked, a thought kept flashing in his mind. Who really is she? Because behind every smile she gave, there was something hidden, something deep. When she looked out the window, her eyes went distant, as if remembering a life that once moved fast, but suddenly stopped. Ryan didn't know it yet. But tonight wasn't just a blind date. It was going to change everything he thought he knew about love, courage, and what it means to truly see someone. The sound of rain outside softened, but the silence between them grew heavier. Ryan stirred his coffee slowly, unsure how to keep the talk alive. But Emily, she looked calm, like she had done this 100 times before. "Do you always look this nervous on first dates?" she asked playfully. Ryan laughed awkwardly. Only when I meet someone way out of my league. Emily smiled, a mix of grace and mystery. Out of your league? You don't even know me yet. Maybe that's the problem, Ryan replied, smiling faintly. For a few seconds, they just looked at each other. Something had shifted. The awkwardness from before was melting away. Emily leaned forward. Okay, let's skip the boring small talk. No favorite color, no zodiac sign. Tell me something real. Who is Ryan when no one's watching? Her question caught him off guard. Ryan blinked. That's heavy good, she said softly. Heavy means honest. He looked down, tracing the rim of his coffee cup with his finger. Well, I'm just a regular guy, I guess. I work, I try, I fail sometimes. People say I joke too much when I'm nervous. And maybe. I'm tired of pretending I'm fine all the time. Emily listened quietly, not interrupting. Not judging, he looked up, meeting her eyes. Your turn. Who's Emily when no one's watching? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. That depends. Do you want the truth or the version people find comfortable? Ryan hesitated. Truth. Emily took a slow breath. Then the truth is, I'm a woman who lost almost everything once. My legs, my love, my old life. But I didn't lose my will, so I built a new one. Ryan stared at her. There was no sadness in her voice, only quiet strength. She looked out the window again. You know, after the accident, everyone said I was lucky to survive. But they didn't see the nights I wished I hadn't. The words hung in the air like cold wind. Ryan's chest tightened. He didn't know what to say. Emily noticed his silence and smiled softly. Relax. I'm not trying to make you feel sorry. I'm just saying. Sometimes survival feels heavier than death. He nodded slowly. That's powerful. I never thought of it that way. She sipped her coffee. Most people don't. They just say, be strong and move on. But strength isn't always loud, Ryan. Sometimes it's just waking up and choosing not to give up again. Ryan felt something change inside him. He had come expecting a date, but what he found was something else. A mirror, maybe? A reflection of courage he never knew existed. He asked softly, Do you miss your old life? Emily smiled. Every day. But then I remember maybe that life was meant to break so I could rebuild one that actually fits me. Ryan leaned back, speechless. Her words hit him like truth wrapped in calm fire. They sat quietly for a moment. The cafe was dim now, the crowd thinner. Soft music played a slow piano tune. Emily broke the silence again. You know what I've learned? What? He asked. That people see only what they're ready to understand. They look at me and see a wheelchair. But no one sees the fire that keeps it moving. Ryan's lips curved into a faint smile. I think I see it now. She looked at him with a surprised expression, almost shy. Then maybe you're not like most people, Ryan chuckled. Or maybe I just learned to look deeper tonight. Emily tilted her head, smiling. Careful, Ryan. That kind of thinking can make you fall for the wrong girl. He laughed softly. Or maybe the right one. Her eyes widened slightly, the first real hint of emotion breaking through her calm surface. The rain outside had stopped. The air was still. Something invisible had changed between them. Something neither could explain, but both could feel. Emily finally said, You know what's strange? I came here tonight expecting nothing. Just a dinner. But somehow, it feels like I met someone who actually sees me. Ryan didn't reply. He didn't need to. The look in his eyes said enough, and for the first time that night, Emily looked away, hiding a genuine smile. She didn't know that the night was only beginning, because what Ryan was about to discover next would change everything he thought he knew about her. The cafe was almost empty now. Only the low hum of the coffee machine filled the air. Ryan and Emily sat quietly, their cups long empty, but their minds far from done talking. Ryan leaned forward. You know, he said, I feel like I've known you for years. You talk like someone who's seen the world and came back stronger. Emily gave a small smile. Maybe I did. But not everyone returns from the storm with all their pieces. Ryan frowned slightly, curious. What do you mean? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached for her phone, checked the time, and then said, "I should probably tell you something before you find out the wrong way." Ryan blinked. "Find out what?" She looked him straight in the eyes. "Who I am." He laughed softly. "I already know who you are. You're Emily Smart, sarcastic, and probably better at hiding emotions than anyone I've met." She smiled faintly. "True, but that's not all." Just then, Ryan's phone buzzed on the table. A message from his friend Michael flashed across the screen. "Dude, that's Emily Harris, the CEO of Horizon Tech. Are you serious?" Ryan's hand froze midair. His eyes widened as he slowly looked at her again. Emily saw his face and sighed. "I guess the internet works fast," stuttered. "Wait, you're that Emily Harris? The tech genius? The one who started that app for people who can't move easily?" She interrupted calmly. "Yes, that's me." Ryan blinked again, trying to find words. I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me earlier?" "Because," she said quietly, "people change when they hear the word CEO. They stop talking to me and start performing. I wanted to see if you could talk to me. Not my title." Ryan sank back in his chair. His heart raced. He felt embarrassed for every second he had underestimated her. "You run one of the biggest companies in the city," he said softly. "And here I was worrying about being late for dinner." Emily chuckled. "I still worry about that too. Power doesn't make you less human, Ryan. It just makes people forget that you are." There was silence again. Deep, heavy silence. Ryan finally said, "So, what really happened to you? The accident?" Emily looked down at her hands. Her fingers traced the rim of her coffee cup. 3 years ago. I was driving back from a product launch. A drunk driver hit my car. Doctors said I was lucky to be alive. I didn't feel lucky. Ryan's throat tightened. He didn't know whether to apologize or to stay quiet. Emily continued, her voice steady. "At first, I hated everyone. My company, my friends, even my reflection. I thought life was over. Then one morning, a nurse said something that changed me." Ryan leaned closer. "What did she say?" Emily's eyes glistened. "She said you can't control what broke you, but you can choose how you rise. And that day I decided I would rise, even if I couldn't walk." Ryan listened, his chest heavy with emotion. "She wasn't just strong, she was extraordinary." Emily smiled faintly. "So, I rebuilt everything. My body, my mind, my company. I started a foundation to help others like me. And that's how Horizon Tech became more than a business. It became my second chance." "Oh," Ryan whispered. "That's incredible." She laughed softly. "It's survival. The fancy interviews don't show the nights I cried until morning, or the people who left when things got hard. But that's life. Some walk away. Some stay." Ryan met her eyes and said gently, "And tonight, someone stayed." Emily froze for a second, surprised. A small, real smile appeared, the kind that didn't hide behind strength. "You did," she said quietly. "And I noticed. The waiter came by with the bill." Ryan reached for it, but Emily stopped him. "Let me," she said. "Technically, I earn more." Ryan grinned. "You might be the CEO, but tonight, I'm the gentleman." They both laughed, the kind of laughter that healed something unseen. As they left the cafe, Ryan walked beside her wheelchair, no longer unsure where to look or what to say. For the first time that night, there was no awkwardness. Just two people, side by side. Under the soft glow of the streetlights, Emily looked up at him and whispered, "You didn't run away, Ryan." He smiled. "And I never will." What neither of them knew, that simple promise would soon be tested in ways neither expected. The night air outside was cool and quiet. The rain had stopped, but the streets still glistened under the yellow streetlights. Ryan and Emily walked, or rather rolled, side by side. There was no rush, no noise, just the soft sound of wheels on wet pavement and the steady rhythm of their hearts calming down after everything they had shared. Ryan broke the silence first. "You know, I never thought a blind date could turn into a TED Talk about courage." Emily laughed, her eyes lighting up. "And I never thought a stranger would listen this carefully." Usually people just smile politely and look at their watches. I guess I'm not most people, Ryan said, grinning. No, she agreed softly. You're not. They stopped under a streetlight. The glow reflected on her face, showing both strength and sadness at once. Ryan had seen confident women before, but none like her. She didn't pretend to be perfect. She just was. So he said after a moment, how does it feel? Running a company and all that after? Everything? Emily took a deep breath. It feels like living with fire in your hands. Some days I'd burn the world with it. Other days, it burns me back. Ryan smiled gently. That's poetic. It's true, she said with a soft laugh. People call me inspiring, but they don't see the days I can't even get out of bed. They don't see the fear, the guilt, the voice in my head that says, you're broken. Ryan's heart ached. You're not broken, Emily. You're rebuilt. She turned her head slowly, looking at him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The streetlight flickered above them like a heartbeat. Rebuilt, she repeated quietly. I like that. They started walking again. Ryan didn't realize it, but something inside him was changing. He no longer saw the wheelchair. He saw a woman brave, beautiful, and painfully real. Every time she spoke, it felt like she was handing him a piece of her soul. After a while, they reached the parking lot where her car waited. Her driver, an older man, stood beside it, ready to help. But Emily lifted her hand, signaling she'd handle it, before getting into the car. She looked back at Ryan. You know, she said, when I came here tonight, I was scared. Scared? Ryan asked. You, the fearless CEO. Emily smiled sadly. Even the fearless get scared. I was scared you'd look at me the way everyone else does, with pity or discomfort. But you didn't. Ryan took a small step closer. Maybe because I saw something different. And what did you see? She asked softly. He looked at her, really looked. I saw a woman who doesn't need fixing. Just someone worth listening to. For a moment, she couldn't speak. Her lips trembled slightly, and her eyes glistened. Then she whispered, Thank you, Ryan. You have no idea how much that means. He smiled. You said something earlier that people only see what they're ready to understand. Maybe tonight I was finally ready. Emily gave a small, real laugh. You talk like a writer. Maybe I'm just paying attention, he said. She turned toward the car. But before the driver opened the door, she looked back one last time. Ryan? Yeah? Thank you for seeing me. Not the chair, not the title. Just me. Her words stayed in the air even after she was gone. Ryan stood there, watching the car disappear into the night. The streetlight flickered again, and for a moment saw her smile in its glow, calm, unshaken, unforgettable. He walked back toward the cafe. Hands in his pockets, heart strangely full. Every conversation replayed in his head, her voice, her eyes, her strength. He realized he hadn't just met a woman tonight. He had met a lesson. Somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice whispered, You don't meet people by accident. Some arrive to show you what real strength looks like. Ryan smiled at the thought. He didn't know if he'd ever see her again, but something told him their story wasn't finished yet. Fate had opened the first page, and the next chapter was already waiting. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling, while the rain returned outside, soft, rhythmic, and strangely comforting. Every word Emily had said echoed in his mind. Her smile, her strength, her pain. It all felt too real to forget. He checked his phone for the 100th time, half expecting a message that wasn't coming. But deep down he knew, people like Emily didn't belong to small moments. They created them. It was almost midnight when his phone buzzed. He grabbed it instantly. A message flashed across the screen. Emily, would you like to see me again? This time, no blind date, just two people who stopped pretending. Ryan stared at the text for a moment, speechless. Then he smiled wide, genuine, and full of something new. Hope, he typed back quickly. Only if you promise not to scare me with life lessons again. A reply came in seconds. Emily, no promises. I like keeping you uncomfortable. It makes you think. He laughed out loud. For the first time in a long while, life felt alive again. A few days later, they met again. Same cafe, same table. But this time the air felt lighter. Emily wore a soft cream sweater and had her hair tied up. She looked different, not because of her clothes, but because of her eyes. There was warmth in them now, a calm that hadn't been there before. Ryan waved as she rolled in. "Hey, stranger. Decided not to fire me for being late?" She smiled. "Not yet, but keep testing my patience." They both laughed. The tension from their first meeting was gone, placed by an easy comfort that only honesty can bring. "So," Ryan said, leaning forward, "no interviews today, right? Just normal people talk?" Emily chuckled. "You'd be surprised how hard that is for someone who runs a company." "Then let me help," he said. "Step 1, forget you're the CEO. Step 2, order dessert before dinner." She raised an eyebrow. "Rebel. Try it," he teased. Minutes later, they were eating chocolate cake before even touching their coffee. Emily laughed so hard that a few people turned to look, but she didn't care, and neither did Ryan. For the first time, she looked free. "Between laughs and crumbs," Ryan said quietly. "You know, I think you're teaching me something again." "Oh," she said. "What's that?" "That maybe strength isn't about fighting all the time. Sometimes it's about letting yourself enjoy the moment." Emily's laughter faded into a soft smile. "You're learning fast." Ryan looked at her, not like someone in a wheelchair. Not like a CEO, just a woman whose heart still believed in beginnings. The conversation shifted again, deeper, quieter. She told him about her childhood, her dreams before the accident, how she once wanted to travel the world alone. Ryan listened like every word mattered. "You still can," he said gently. "Maybe not alone, but differently." She looked at him, eyes soft. "You really believe that?" "I do," he said. "Because sometimes the right person doesn't walk beside you, they roll." Emily blinked, surprised, then laughed through the tears that suddenly filled her eyes. That was both cheesy and beautiful. "Good," he said. "That means it worked." For a moment, neither spoke. The cafe lights flickered softly. Outside, the sky turned gold with the setting sun. Then Emily whispered, "You know, Ryan, you made me remember something I forgot." "What's that?" he asked. "How it feels to be seen without a label." Ryan reached across the table. Not saying anything, just placing his hand gently over hers. She didn't pull away. The cafe faded around them, just a people. Two broken stories, finding peace in the middle of the noise. When she finally spoke, her voice trembled slightly. "You know, I came that night ready to end dating forever. I thought people only saw what I'd lost. But you saw what I still had," Ryan smiled. "Maybe because I was looking for the same thing." They sat there for a long time, saying nothing, just watching the last bit of light fade from the sky. Emily glanced at him once more, her voice soft. "You really stayed." He squeezed her hand gently. "I told you I never run." For the first time in years. Emily believed it. The world outside kept moving. But inside that small cafe, two hearts that had almost given up decided to try again. The next morning, sunlight poured through Ryan's window. He sat by his desk, sipping coffee, still thinking about last night. Every laugh, every word from Emily kept replaying like a melody he didn't want to stop hearing. He never believed that a single evening could change someone's heart, but somehow it did. He opened his phone and saw a new message from her. "Emily, meeting went great. The cake was better. Next time you choose the cafe." Ryan grinned. Just reading her words felt like a spark of life. He typed back, "Next time, no fancy places? Just a walk or a roll in the park." Her reply came with a smiling emoji. Emily, deal. A week later, they met again, this time at a quiet park near the river. It was sunset, the sky a mix of orange and pink. Kids laughed in the distance and the air smelled like blooming jasmine. Ryan was waiting by a bench when Emily arrived. She wore a light blue dress that matched the sky. The wind brushed her hair, and for a moment, Ryan just watched her, admiring how effortlessly she carried her world. "Hey," he said, smiling. "You look like a painting." Then I hope you brought a frame, she teased. They both laughed. But there was a new kind of silence after, not awkward, not heavy, just full of unspoken warmth. They watched the river flow for a while. Emily turned to him. Do you ever think how strange life is? One wrong turn, one bad accident, and everything changes. Ryan nodded. Yeah, but sometimes it changes for the better. She looked at him, eyes soft. You really believe that? I do, he said, because maybe pain isn't there to destroy us. Maybe it's there to remind us how strong we can be. Emily smiled faintly. You sound like me now, he chuckled. Guess you're rubbing off on me? As the sun dipped lower, they began to walk slowly side by side along the path. The golden light touched everything. Turning ordinary moments into something eternal, Emily spoke again, her tone quiet but steady. You know, people still stare sometimes. Even now, but lately, I've stopped caring. Ryan looked at her. Why's that? Because I realized something, she said. Their eyes can't define my worth. I can. He nodded. You always could. You just forgot for a while. She smiled, almost shyly. And you helped me remember. Ryan's chest tightened with emotion. You helped me too. You showed me what real courage looks like. For a moment, they both stopped walking. The world around them faded into the sound of water and wind. Emily turned toward him and said softly, You know, Ryan, people think strength means walking tall. But real strength is standing firm when life takes your legs away. Right. Ryan swallowed hard. And love? He asked quietly. She paused, her eyes glistening. Love is when someone chooses to stay, even when they don't have to. Ryan smiled. Then, I guess I'm staying. Emily looked away, tears escaping despite her smile. You're impossible. You know that? Yeah, he said with a grin. But apparently, that's my charm. The evening grew darker, the first stars beginning to appear. Ryan helped her position her chair near the edge of the park, where city lights reflected off the river. For a while, they sat there, silent, content. Two souls who had met by accident, but stayed by choice. Emily whispered, almost to herself, Thank you, Ryan, not just for seeing me, but for reminding me I still exist. He looked at her, eyes soft. You were never invisible, Emily. The world just needed to open its eyes. She turned her head toward him, smiling through the tears. You really should write a book. He laughed quietly. Maybe I just found the ending. So the camera would fade out if this were a film. It would show the river, the stars, and two figures sitting together, side by side. No grand gestures, no dramatic music, just peace. And the narrator's voice would say, Sometimes, the person you least expect walks into your life or rolls into it and teaches you that love isn't about perfection. It's about presence. In that night, Ryan learned the greatest truth of all, that beauty isn't something you see with your eyes. It's something you feel when someone finally sees you.